Hello and welcome to Easto Talks. It's that time of the year again. You need to dust down them top hats because Britain's showcase race meeting is here. Royal Ascot 2023. And what a showcase we have got coming up. We have got lots of Group 1 action, lots of international raiders and some very, very competitive handicaps. I will be doing an episode every single day, every single night, should I say, before racing, and I'll be giving you my nap, my next best and an each way selection for each day of the meeting. Day one is tomorrow. We've got 3 Group 1s, a couple of very competitive handicaps. But the first race is the Queen Anne over the straight mile. The best winner to ever win this race was Frankel back in the day. God, he was very impressive under Tom Queally. But let's talk about tomorrow's race. It's not a race I will be having a bet in, but it looks like it's headed in the market by 2 very strong favourites, Modern Games and Inspiral, both around the 9-4 mark. Modern Games, he was very impressive in the Lockinge last time out when edging ahead of Shindit, who's also in this race. But Modern Games that day, he looked very impressive and there was not a lot you could complain about. Inspiral, she's a horse who has got lots and lots and lots of ability, and it will be some start to Frankie's final Royal Ascot winning on Inspiral for the Gosdens. She won at Royal Ascot. She won the Coronation Stakes last year. She was very impressive that day. She's ran since. She went to France and then she ran at Ascot again on Champions Day, and she was very disappointing, to be honest with you. But she probably had her excuses. She was wound up before the race. She was bucking. She was kicking. She was maybe in season. I don't know. But she just didn't look herself. But if she shows her coronation form last year, I think she goes into this with a brilliant chance. Native Trials in the race, he's got a great chance. He was, I thought he was a little bit disappointing last time out. I think he underperformed at Newmarket when Muster Sarbek was in front of him. Muster Sarbek, again, he was very impressive at Newmarket that day, but he seems to be a horse who only seems to do it in smaller fields. And obviously Shindit, he is 0 from 8 at Group 1 level. But personally, in the first race, put a gun to my head, I can't really split the first 2, but Frankie Dettori, Ascot, you know the relationship there. It doesn't need to be explained. I would be backing Inspiral if I was attending the race course. So that's the first race, the Group 1 Queen Anne. The second race is the Coventry, a very, very good 2-year-old race. There's 22 runners go to post, and again it's headed in the market by 3 horses, really, an English horse and 2 Irish horses. The first horse I'll talk about is the English horse. This is Azandar. I talked about him in one of my other episodes. He won at Ripon first time up, providing the highest racing post rating from a newcomer in, I think, 16 years. He was very, very impressive that day, and I'm still a little bit sickened off about this horse because I tried to buy him for a client at the sales, and unfortunately we didn't manage to get him, so it was a little bit annoying there as how he's gone on to do since. And obviously if he wins tomorrow, it'll be even more of a kick in the teeth, even though I will be supporting him, and I have backed this horse for George Bowie and William Buick. Another one is Give Me the Beat Boys for John Harrington and, again, Frankie Dettori in the saddle. He's drawn 7. I'm a big believer in the draw at Ascot, especially over the straight track, and I think it'll be perfectly good ground, yes, tomorrow. I don't know how much rain exactly they've had, but up in Yorkshire we had a lot of rain last night, and I think the ground will be well watered if they haven't had that rain. But I think we should be expecting good ground tomorrow, and I think on the straight track you should be expecting the winners to come up the stand side. I'm a big believer in that, and even if the ground goes, if the ground was firm, very fast ground, I'd be telling you the far side like last year. But if it's a little bit of cut in it, which hopefully there is, I would be expecting to come up the stand side. Obviously a lot of low pressure thunderstorms have been around recently. The favourite in the race, obviously, George Bowie's Azandar isn't the favourite, but the favourite in the race, River Tiber for Aidan O'Brien and Coolmore. This is 2 out of 2. This is drawn on the far side. It is in stall 6 for Ryan Moore. This horse is 2 out of 2 in Ireland. Look, he's put numbers, racing post numbers, up into the hundreds on both starts. But personally, I think it will be more. You'll need to be more towards the stand side for this race, and also drawn next to that horse in number 7, giving the Beat Boys for Frank Dettori and John Harrington. That is drawn at the far side as well. But I think Azandar could be a lot better than this field, and it could be a Coventry to remember. The third race, the King's Stand. This is where my next best selection is running. The Globetrotter. There is how many horses are in this race? There is 19 runners in the race. There is 3 international raiders, 2 from America and 2 from Australia and 1 from America. This was won by an Australian horse last year. And Australia this year presents Cannonball and Coolangatta. Coolangatta ridden by James McDonald and Cannonball ridden by B. Preble. Both of these horses have done very well in Australia, but I think it will be done by a globe-trotting filly based in the UK, in Malton, not far from me, with Highfield Princess. She finished second in the Duke of York last time out. She ran very well, beaten by a handy filly of Michael Dodds's. However, that day, she probably did need it. John Quinn, he doesn't seem to rev them up first time up like a lot of other trainers do. Highfield Princess, it's not long ago when she was a moderate handicapper, and now she is one of the highest rated fillies on the planet. Last year she was a sensation. She won 3 Group 1s on the bounce before she travelled over to America. Things didn't quite go her way at the Breeders' Cup, and then obviously she was second on her reappearance last time out. She's bound to improve from that massively and run a big race. Again, I'll talk about Frankie Dettori's Mount Manakant, again another high improver. This horse, he didn't win last time out, but he was very progressive at the back end of last year. But personally, I don't know if this is the strongest renewal of the King's Stand. We can't not talk about Dramatised. Carries the lightest weight in the race of only 8 stone 12. Danny Tudhope, he's a jockey who rides Ascot very well for the Carl Burke team. That team is absolutely flying. She was mega impressive at Haydock last time out when winning on the snaff. Not a lot not to like about her, should I say. However, 3-year-olds haven't got the best record in this race. Again, the 2 Australian horses are 3-year-olds, and Wesley Ward sends one over from America, which I haven't talked about. This horse won the Queen Mary as a 2-year-old. This is Twilight Gleaming. Irad Ortiz takes the ride for Wesley Ward. Wesley, obviously, he's got a brilliant record over in down at Ascot. He won this race with the very memorable Lady Aurelia, as you may remember back in the day. But this race, my next best of tomorrow's meeting, is Highfield Princess. She's a sensation, and hopefully she can pick a Group 1 win up for Yorkshire. The third race, the fourth race, should I say, tomorrow, the St James's Palace Stakes, over a mile on the round course for 3-year-olds only. This race is dominated in the betting by the 2 Guineas winners, the Irish 2,000 Guineas winner and the English 2,000 Guineas winner, Paddington and Shaldine. Obviously, Shaldine, he was supposed to run twice so far this year. His first time out he ran this year was in the Greenham. Obviously, he was unseated. He got knocked at the start, so put a line through that. And then he was very impressive in the Guineas. He's done it on soft ground. He's done it on fast ground. He's very, very straightforward as this horse. And there's not a lot not to like about him. And Paddington, he won the Irish 2,000 guineas. Do I think it was as strong as the British 2,000 guineas? No. But he did look impressive that day. And again, there's not a lot not to like about him. But my each way selection of tomorrow's racing is in this race, and it is Royal Scotsman. As you know, I've banged on about this horse in the past. He was third in the British 2,000 guineas behind Chaldine. He ran very well that day. That day he had a bit of bad luck in running. He was all over the place. He raced keenly. It was his first run of the season. And then he went to the Irish 2,000 guineas where, personally, look, I got it wrong. I thought it was a certainty, but something must have been wrong with him that day. He finished ninth down the field. He went off the red-hot favourite. And if you can forgive him for that, and if on paper I thought he should have won that race, if he went on to win that race, he'd have been a very similar price to Chaldine at around 9-4, but he's 14-1. There's 9 runners in the race, 3 places. I think he could be a very safe each way bet if returning to his best. Also, I won't forget Siqueiro's gift of Charlie Hills. He was so impressive. I backed him last time out in a listed race at Goodwood. He looked really good, but was his opposition anything like this? No. And I couldn't back him at 5-1. But my selection for this race is Royal Scotsman each way at 14-1. Race 5, the Ascot Stakes, a very, very sticky, tricky handicap to get your teeth stuck into. 20 runners go to post. A distance race over 2 miles, 3 furlongs. Again, very, very competitive. I won't be wasting too much time on here, but the favourite in the race, I can't be going near it. Bring on the Night, one of Willie Mullins' Ryan Moore takes the ride. He's drawn 15, that isn't a problem. However, he's 7-4. I can't be getting involved. Look, he can go and win this race. I'm not saying he won't win, but from my punting perspective, I will not be touching him at 7-4. He was second in this race last year. He's gone up £4 in the handicap since. He's been off 371 days. And is he going to be race fit, ready for this race? Look, it's a gamble. Whether you're going to take 7-4 or not, that is completely down to you. A horse of Gordon Elliott's called Western also comes over from Ireland. You'll notice we've got a lot of jump trainers, regular jump trainers' names in this race. Alan King, Ollie Murphy, Nicky Henderson's got a runner. Ian Williams, he's good with his stayers. Paul Nicholls has got a runner. Milton Harris, etc. There's a lot of jump trainers horses in this race. The race is over 2 miles 3, so a lot of these horses are dual purpose. But I've already talked about Bring On the Night for Willie Mullins and Ryan Moore. But I'd like to talk about a horse of Gordon Elliott's called Western. This horse used to race in Germany, and then he ran at Leopardstown last time out. I thought he ran quite well. Things didn't quite go his way, but once he got a bit of daylight, he finished quite well, and he looked like he needed a lot further, and he's taken a big step up in distance today. This is Western for Colin Keane and Gordon Elliott. He went in my notebook after I saw that race at Leopardstown. Obviously, he raced in Germany before, and he could be on a good handicap mark of 96 going into this race. But another horse which again has changed stables recently. It's had 2 runs for Ian Williams. This is number 17, Law of the Sea for David Egan. This is an 11-1 shot. This horse used to originally raced in, where did it race? Originally raced for John Gosden, and then it went over to Germany, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and then it has been in England for its last 2 runs. It was a very eye-catching 4th in the Chester Cup, ran very well that day, and then was 2nd since, being quite unlucky. But it's not going to be a race which I will be spending too much time on. I don't really get too stuck into these distance races, but if you put a gun to my head, if I was going to have a bet, it would be Law of the Sea, number 17, drawn 17 as well. Where are we? Let's get stuck into this. Right, race 6, the Wolferton Stakes. This is where my next best bet of the meet of tomorrow is running. But I find this a very intriguing race, as You can see there's a lot of sticks against his name. King of Conquest has won his last 4 races at Wolverhampton to Bahrain, Newmarket and then Goodwood. I'd like to talk about the Newmarket race. The Newmarket race, he won that day. He won by around a head to Saga, the Royal runner, again under Frankie Dettori in this race. Saga was very impressive, was very unlucky, should I say, that day. The line came a little bit too quick for him. Saga was coming into that race off a break, and obviously King of Conquest was already race fit. King of Conquest 9-1. Saga is the 4-1 favourite, but my next best selection of tomorrow is also in this race, and this is Francesco Clemente for John Gosden and Rab Havlin. This horse won his only 3 starts he had last year, and then last time out he was odds-on favourite against King of Conquest at Goodwood, and that day at Goodwood, for some reason, going round the bend for home, he went very wide. He took a tour of Sussex that day, going all over the place, and again, once he eventually got himself into stride, he flew home to get beaten by a neck. I thought he was mightily unlucky that day. I thought he should have won the race, and I thought he was the best horse in the race, and if he ran in a straight line, there's no doubt he'd have been an impressive winner. And if he was an impressive winner of that race, he would be a lot shorter than 11-2. So Francesco Clemente is my next best bet for tomorrow. And my nap is in the final race, the Copper Horse Handicap over 1 mile 6. I'm contradicting myself here because I just said I didn't like long distance races. But Vauban hasn't ran on the flat for 701 days. I'm going to be short and sweet with this. There's a lot of good vibes about this horse coming out of Willie Mullins' yard. Ryan Moore takes the ride, and the plan is, I believe, for this horse to win this race and then go on to the Melbourne Cup. He's currently 13-8, and I think, short and simple, I think he will win this race. Again, Jump Trainers have got some horses in this race, and Willie Mullins, he sends, how many does he send over? He sends 2 over. From Ireland, Alan King's also got a runner, again, another Jump Trainer. Willie Mullins, his other horse, Absture, he hasn't ran on the flat for over a year as well. Obviously, it was over 2 years for Vauban. But Frankie Dettori takes the ride on his other horse, Absture, but Vauban for me, Vauban, however you like to pronounce him, I think he's got a great chance, and I think this is going to be a stepping stone for the Melbourne Cup at the back end of the year. But that is day 1 of the Royal Meeting for me. You've got my nap, my next best, and my each way selection. My next best being Francesco Clemente, my nap being Vauban, and my next best, my each way selection being Royal Scotsman. Hopefully they can run well. Hopefully I've pointed you in the right way, and let's see how the horses run tomorrow. But I'll be doing another episode tomorrow night on day 2 of the Royal Meeting, where hopefully we can be celebrating over a couple of drinks. But if you go into Ascot, best of luck. Pick yourself a few winners and have a brilliant time. But day 1 over and done with. Fingers crossed we can have a winner or 2. Good luck.